Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, we will be discussing the CSAT strategy to follow for the upcoming Prelims 2026. I had decided to make CSAT strategy video at the end of all the subject strategies videos, but I have been getting a lot of requests, especially for CSAT, because post 2023 CSAT has become a dream killer when it comes to UPSC prelims, because a lot of people are struggling with respect to clearing CSAT even if they have good scores in GS, and that is why I decided to make a video on CSAT. Because if you see at the pattern of CSAT papers, every year UPSC is increasing the game of CSAT. It is upping the game of CSAT because UPSC also has certain limitations with respect to making GS difficult, so it is using CSAT as a bigger filter in order to eliminate people in the game of elimination called UPSC prelims. So with respect to CSAT, before we go ahead with the strategy part of CSAT, let us look at the overall section wise trend when it comes to CSAT paper in the last around 7-8 years from 2017 to 2025. If you look at the number of questions asked of reading comprehension, you will be able to see that the number lies somewhere between 25 to 30 questions for reading comprehension. I just want you to register these numbers so that we will be strategizing based on the weightage given to each and every section. When you look at the reasoning part of CSAT, you will see that the number of questions over somewhere between, and when you look at the questions of Quant, you will see that the number of questions are somewhere in the range of 30 to 35 or 40 questions. So in short, if you look at the weightage of each and every section, you will see that Quant is the highest weightage, then reading comprehension and reasoning. And Quant, despite being the highest weightage given in the sections, amongst the section, Quant is the section where a lot of people struggle. Now with respect to the strategy for CSAT, or with respect to how to approach CSAT, I believe CSAT strategy can be divided into 3 P's, that is preparation, practice and performance. So your success in CSAT depends on these 3 P's. First is preparation, practice and performance. Now let us look at each and every aspect of CSAT preparation in detail. When it comes to preparation, the first and foremost thing that I want you people to do is do your own SWOT analysis. Now this is to know what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses, what are the topics which have opportunities for you where you can get high return on investment. Now how to do this? Before starting with CSAT preparation for 2026 attempt, I would recommend everyone watching this video to sit for 2 hours in the upcoming days and attempt 2024 paper as if you are sitting in the exam hall and appearing for it. Why 2024 paper? Because we do not have the official answer key for 2025 CSAT paper, and if you look at the discrepancies in answer key of various coaching institutions and UPSC's answer key for CSAT, you will see there are many variations. So it is better to compare your performance with UPSC's official answer key. So sit for 2 hours, solve the 2024 paper of CSAT and do your SWOT analysis. That is, analyze your performance something like this. See what were the number of questions coming from quantitative aptitude, how many questions did you attempt, how many did you get correct, how many did you get incorrect. Similarly for reading comprehension, how many did you attempt, how many did you get correct and how many did you get incorrect. And similarly for reasoning, how many did you attempt, how many did you get correct and how many did you get incorrect. Based on this analysis, you will get a priority order for your own self. That is, you will get to know which amongst the 3 sections is your strength and which is your weakness. So you will get a priority order in order to prepare accordingly. For example, suppose a candidate has maximum incorrect in quantitative aptitude, so his priority order should be something like, he should be prioritizing Quant first, then if he has the reasoning or reading comprehension questions incorrect to the second number, so that will be your second priority, and then in the end reasoning. So the first thing that I want everyone to do before they start CSAT preparation for upcoming attempt is to recognize and your own priority order, so that you are putting in efforts in a directed manner. Otherwise, a mistake that a lot of people do is pick up a book available in market for CSAT, or pick up any YouTube series and go on watching them blindly. This is not how it works. We are here to clear the cutoff for CSAT, and we should be doing it strategically based on our own strengths, our own weaknesses, because putting in time and effort in topics that you are good at does not make sense. Rather, it is better to invest time in the topics that you are weak and then go to the topics that you are good at. Okay, so first things first, set the priority order. Now, in my own journey of giving 6 attempts, clearing prelims in all the 6 attempts, as well as mentoring hundreds of aspirants, I have noticed one thing: a lot of people do struggle in the quant section of CSAT. That is majorly because of the fear of maths that is there since childhood. Now, suppose quant is your weakest area. So what should you be doing post the SWOT analysis? Post the SWOT analysis, once you get the priority order, you should be going on to your PYQ analysis. For example, suppose quant is your weakest area, so you should move on to analyze the PYQs of quant. Now let us look at the PYQs of quant. So these are the questions from 2017. If you plot the question of 2017 to 2025, you will get the rough weightage for each and every topic. This is what I have done here. I found out that number system remains one of the most important topics when it comes to quant. Post number system, you have questions from algebra, then you have questions from permutation, and then the easier topics like averages, age, time and work. Okay, so based on this PYQ analysis of quant, you will get a priority order as to which topics to focus on. See, first you did your SWOT analysis, analyzed the section to focus on. Once you get the priority order of the section, do the PYQ analysis of that particular section, and then get a order for that particular section. For example, for quant, this is the order that I would suggest everyone. First, focus on number system as a topic, because if you look at the number of questions from number system, in 2023 there were 23 questions, in 24 there were 24 questions, in 25 prelims there were 25 questions. So out of the 35 to 38 questions coming from quantitative aptitude, around 20 to 25 questions are from one single topic. So this makes number system one of the most important topics when it comes to CSAT preparation. So make sure that you are picking up this topic first, and out of these 24-25 questions coming, 10 to 15 questions are easily doable, and if you are getting these 10 to 15 questions correct, you are 50% of the game of clearing CSAT is done. So if you look at it very mathematically, very strategically, you just need 27 questions net correct when it comes to CSAT. And if you are able to get 10 to 15 questions from a single topic, you can see how easy clearing CSAT can become. This happens only when you are doing it very strategically, you are doing it in a calculated way. So first go for number system, then go on to the later on algebra topics like ratio, proportion, averages, age, percentage, and keep permutation and combination for the end. Even if permutation and combination has one of the highest number of questions, make sure that you are keeping it in the end, because it is a difficult topic for a lot of people. Personally, I never did prepare for permutation and combination in my 6 attempts, yet I was able to clear CSAT every year. So you can keep permutation and combination for the end. Even while doing permutation and combination in the end, what you can do is go through the PYQs and focus on the questions where you do not need to use complicated formulas, where you can just solve the questions by imagining the scenario and doing some rough calculations. Okay, so this is the suggested order when it comes to quantitative aptitude. I am focusing on quantitative aptitude in detail because this is a section where a lot of people struggle. Once you are done, once you have decided this order of topics to prepare in quantitative aptitude, I want you to follow a few mantras or a few thumb rules when it comes to preparation of quant. The first and foremost is focus on concepts over formula. Now again, a major mistake done by a lot of people, what they end up doing is they end up focusing on rote learning a lot of formulas, and at the end when you're sitting in those 2 hours, all the formulas get mixed up. There becomes a hodgepodge of formula and you will end up getting the question incorrect. Rather than focusing on formulas, focus on concepts, because in UPSC you have enough time to derive formulas on the spot. And when it comes to the questions asked by UPSC, the questions are not very mathematical, not very difficult, that require rote learning of formula. Basic understanding of concept are enough to solve quantitative aptitude questions. This I am telling from clearing 6 out of 6 prelims, that too without reading for CSAT for a single day in all my 6 attempts. Now, the second thing to focus when it comes to quantitative aptitude is find out some jugaad ways of solving. For example, in every topic you will have some jugaad ways. Like when it came to the topic of percentage, what I did, no matter what the question, I used to try and convert it into 100 and solve it. Okay. When it came to the questions on mixture, I used to follow the X wala method, where you put in the values here and you get the answer. Okay. So follow these jugaad ways of solving. And the last option to do, the last mantra to follow when it comes to quant question, is to reach the answer through the options given. Now this is where a lot of people again give up. Once they form the equation, they try and solve the equation, and if they are not coming near the answer, they give up. But rather than solving and doing all the calculation, just put in the values from the options and try and see which value is satisfying the equation. Okay. The last thing to do when it comes to quant is go for guesstimation. Now this is the last resort to follow. If you are short on time and you have to attempt a few more questions, what you can do, based on the values given in the question, you can just guesstimate the range of answer, right? What is the range where the answer will be falling? And out of the options, if you look at the options clearly, UPSC normally does that. Even if you are going through guesstimation, you will be able to eliminate 2 options and reach to the 50-50 wala scenario. Okay. So guesstimation is another way when it comes to solving quant questions. So do not only rely on the method of formula. This is a very big mistake done by a lot of people, that they go on rote learning formulas and do not focus on fundamental conceptual clarity, fundamental understanding of concept. Okay. So understand the concepts. If you are good at understanding of the concept, if you have all the concepts till 10th standard thoroughly, you know them thoroughly, you can clear quants of UPSC. This I am telling you from my own experience. I never prepared for CSAT for a single day in my 6 attempts, and I was able to clear CSAT with good amount of marks when it comes to CSAT. Now the next part of CSAT is your reasoning. Again, once you are done with quant or whichever is your weakest section, pick up reasoning. Now again, based on the PYQ analysis, you will get to know that there are certain topics that are given more weightage by UPSC, like order ranking, like series problems, syllogisms, clocks. Okay, so these are a few easy topics which have been given good amount of weightage. So if you look at a few suggestions of easier topics that can be solved with some normal logic or some basic calculations, basic drawing on the question paper itself, they are order and ranking, seating arrangements. Again, calendar mein you need not do very complex calculation, you just have to find the remainder days and you will be able to reach the answer. Similarly, blood relation, the easiest way is to draw and imagine your own family. Okay, this is the thing that I used to do. If there is a question, whichever relation is being asked or mentioned in the question, I used to imagine it in my own family and then reach to the answer. When it comes to syllogism, again easy. So these are a few topics of reasoning which can be done easily through good amount of practice. Okay, now post reasoning, the last section of CSAT is reading comprehension. Again, this is a section where a lot of people struggle because they do one basic mistake that a lot of people are committing, that is not prioritizing the right questions. See, if you look at the question types of reading comprehension, you will see there are majorly 4 to 5 types of question. One, the question asks what is the main idea of the passage, or directly some factual question based on the passage. Then there are questions of inference, what is the inference, and lastly assumption based questions. Okay, based on my experience of giving these many attempts and guiding students, I have come to the conclusion that when it comes to reading comprehension, assumption based questions are the most difficult to solve. Okay, so keep them at the end. So the first thing to do in reading comprehension is to prioritize the passages while solving. See, if you have a passage on assumption, you can keep it for the end. So first prioritize the direct factual question wala passages, then go for inference or conclusion, then the main idea, and lastly keep the assumption based passages. This order will help you get more accuracy when it comes to reading comprehension. With respect to reading comprehension, a lot of people experience this. They are able to attempt all 27 to 29 questions, but their accuracy in reading comprehension is very low. This is because they end up hurrying through the passages and making a lot of mistakes. So in order to increase your accuracy for reading comprehension, follow the prioritization approach of prioritizing the questions or the types of question where the chances of getting accuracy more is higher, and then assumption based questions, try to keep it at end. Now UPSC is also playing with us. You will see that the number of questions in assumption based passages is increasing. In 2025, UPSC asked the most number of questions from assumption based passages. So you cannot go to the prelims without preparing assumption based questions at all. Now in order to increase your accuracy in such questions, you need to do one thing, that is reverse engineer the logic of UPSC. Now what I used to do personally is sit with the previous year questions and the official answer key of UPSC, solve a particular passage, and if I'm getting the question incorrect, I used to see what UPSC has given as the correct answer, and then reread the passage, think about what was the logic, what must have been the logic used by examiner to reach that as an answer. So if you do this for like 4-5 year ka questions, automatically you will realize that your way of thinking, your way of analyzing the passage, and UPSC examiner's way of analyzing the passage is aligning, and automatically your accuracy will start increasing. So do reverse engineer the logic of UPSC from UPSC official answer key. This is again a mistake done by a lot of people. What we do normally is just solve and check it from the UPSC answer key and do not reverse engineer it. This solving the PYQs is one step, analyzing and studying the patterns in it is the second step, and this is a very important step a lot of people miss out on. So do reverse engineer the logic from UPSC answer key so that your thinking is aligned with UPSC examiner's thinking, and ultimately you get good number of questions correct, your accuracy automatically increases. So this is a few suggestions from my end when it comes to reading comprehension. So when it comes to CSAT preparation for 2026, the first thing that I want everyone to do is do your SWOT analysis by solving 2024 paper. Based on your SWOT analysis, pick up your weakest section of the syllabus, pick up that section, do the PYQ analysis of that section. Through the PYQ analysis, you will get a priority order of topics, which topics to prioritize. Once you are there, start preparing the concepts of that particular topic, and while you are doing that concept, start practice as well. Now for practice with respect to CSAT, always prioritize PYQs over any class test. No class test comes close to UPSC prelims ka CSAT ka questions. So do not rely on class tests. Class tests are either too easy or too difficult when it comes to CSAT. So do not rely on class tests. Rely on PYQs. You have around 12 years of PYQs with you. That will be more than enough for practice. Now make sure that you are prioritizing PYQs over class tests, and while practicing PYQs, you need to follow order of practice. That is, firstly, while you are doing the preparation part, while you are focusing on the conceptual clarity part of a particular topic, do the PYQs topic wise. For example, suppose you are studying number system as a topic. Once you are done with all the concepts of number system, pick up all the questions or PYQs of number system and then solve them. So for a particular topic, you practice all the topic wise PYQs, and then secondly, once you are done with all the topics and topic wise PYQs, you switch to year wise solving of CSAT PYQs. Now this will help you solve PYQs in exam like condition, and this exam like condition helps us tackle the third P of CSAT, that is performance. Now when it comes to performance, now I believe this is too early to discuss with respect to performance, but I can discuss a couple of points that I want you to implement in your upcoming tests or the PYQs that you will be giving solving. Follow the 2-minute thumb rule. If a question is taking more than 2 minutes, move ahead. Okay, like in life, moving ahead helps a lot. Similarly, when it comes to CSAT, you have a lot of scope to leaving a lot of questions, because ultimately out of the 80 questions that you have, even if you are able to solve 50 questions, you are on the safer side. Okay, so follow the 2-minute thumb rule. If you're not able to solve a question for 2 minutes, there is very high chance that you won't be able to solve the question even if you invest 10 minutes. So follow the 2 minutes thumb rule. Second thing to keep in mind while solving CSAT is follow the idea of all over one. Now what I mean by this, see, again, a mistake done by a lot of people. What they do is they pick up any one section of the paper and start solving all the questions of that one section. जैसे क्वेश्चन पेपर सॉल्व करने बैठे तो एक बच्चा डिसाइड करेगा कि मैं पहले सारे क्वांट के क्वेश्चन सॉल्व करूँगा, एंड दिस इज़ अ मिस्टेक टू डू. सो आई वुड सजेस्ट एवरीवन, while you are solving the paper, focus on all the sections over any one particular section, because if you are focusing only on one section, you will feel fatigue, you will feel bored, and ultimately end up making very high silly mistakes. Secondly, a lot of times it happens that if you are solving a similar type of questions, automatically you get brain fog and you won't be getting innovative ways to solve the particular question. So while solving the paper, while solving the test, make sure that you are solving 4-5 reading comprehensions, then solving 4-5 quants, then a couple of reading comprehensions. So a mix of all the types of questions, all the sections. So follow the idea of all sections over a one particular section. And lastly, make sure that you are following the approach of adaptability. Even if you have made a plan, you need to be adaptable with respect to CSAT, because you never know what shock value the paper has for us. Every year UPSC will try and incorporate some shock value in the CSAT paper, so you should be adaptable. Go analyze the paper for the first 10 minutes and decide your approach on the spot. Do not waste your attempt by just following an approach that you have practiced blindly without seeing whether that approach is appropriate for the given paper. So follow the idea of adaptability. Apart from this, there are a few more things that I want to discuss with respect to performance, but I do not think this is the right time. I will be coming up with a particular specific video on how to solve or what is the approach that you should follow in those 2 hours of CSAT paper later on around March or April. For now, these are a few things that I want you to incorporate even in your test. Now, so what should be your plan ahead when it comes to CSAT? See, I believe that you should be investing 1 to 2 hours for CSAT from now. Okay, especially people who have been struggling with CSAT or people from humanities background who think CSAT is a big hurdle for them. This is again my particular suggestion, because a lot of people have done this mistake of keeping CSAT in the end for March and April and giving 8-10 days dedicated for CSAT. By the time you reach March, April, the tension and stress for GS is so high that you won't be able to focus on CSAT and your CSAT preparation will remain incomplete. It is better to invest 1 or 2 hours daily for CSAT than keeping 8-10 days in bulk in the later part of your preparation. Secondly, doing 1-2 hours of CSAT daily also acts as a refreshment in your preparation, because CSAT again activates your brain, and whatever GS part you are reading, whenever you are feeling bored, pick up CSAT, solve a few questions. So follow the approach of 1 to 2 hours daily for CSAT, and this is the approach that we will be following in our mentorship program as well, where we will be dividing the day into 3 parts. One would be static, which will take major part of the day, around 60% part. Then would be the current affairs, that would take around 20% of the day, and CSAT, that would take around 20% of the day. So if you are preparing for 10 hours, you should be giving 60%, that is 6 hours for your static preparation, 2 hours for current affairs preparation, and 2 hours for CSAT preparation. This is a way to prepare in a balanced way. So the approach to follow is the 3 P's, how to implement them. See, when it comes to your preparation for CSAT, December to February part, that is December, January, February, you should be focusing majorly on preparation part, where you get good conceptual clarity, understand the fundamentals of all the topics, and also do the first order of practice, that is topic wise practice of CSAT. Okay, now the months of mid-Feb to March, the 40-45 days, you should be focusing on practice, that is your topic wise practice continues in February and March, and this time you use for course correction, that is whichever topics, the preparation of whichever topics you feel is weaker, you go back to the concepts, you learn them again and practice them. And lastly, your April and May would be reserved for your performance part, where you pick up PYQs and give them as tests, in order to ensure that whatever strategy you are going to implement there, you are practicing it and perfecting it so much, so that in the final exam CSAT feels like a cakewalk to you. So this is my suggestion with respect to CSAT. Now I would suggest everyone to implement it based on your own strengths, own weaknesses, because when it comes to CSAT, you need to prepare a personalized plan, because ultimately we are here to clear an exam. No matter if you are scoring 80 or 180 in CSAT, it does not matter as long as you are clearing the 66 marks. Now in my own journey, I have scored, the range of my scores for CSAT has been 70 in 2023 to around 120. Now this course was without any preparation, and I used to follow this basic, when it came to Quant, this basic approach of Jugaad, where I used to derive formulas on the spot and solve it. Now this might not work for everyone, so you need to focus on the preparation part. Make sure that you are investing your December to February phase in preparation, in ensuring that you have good hold over concepts and fundamentals of all the subject, all the topics, and then practice in March, and you have good time to course correct, so that you can go back to those lectures. And lastly, April and May, you just focus on the performance part, that is those 2 hours, what all things you need to implement, how you are going to plan those 2 hours.